and welcome to another episode of the Wonderless Wealth Show. Today, I have a very special guest. Her name is Khouri. She is a wonderful WWA student who has absolutely crushed it. Like, seriously, crushed it this year. It's been a crazy, wild ride. You just closed on your first investment property, though. I'm so freaking proud of you, and I'm so excited to just dig into your story. So, welcome to the show, Khouri.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to me.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so before we even get into your property right now and where you're at, because I know, like I said, your ride has been a crazy one.
Yeah.
But let's start at the beginning. So I remember this was last year. This was when I just launched WWA. You were considering joining, and I remember at first you were like, I remember we hopped on a call. You were like, I think I'm going to join. And then you actually didn't end up joining. This was right before the new year, right? But then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, you're like, just kidding, I'm joining. So what was, how did that happen? What was that change in thought process?
Yeah. So I originally wanted to join, and then, just life happens and there are things that kind of get in the way. And I'm like, okay, maybe now is not the best time, but January is my birthday month. It's the start of the year. And that's kind of when we're making quote unquote resolutions. But I was like, I don't want this to be a resolution that I actually don't keep up with. I want this to be something that I make happen. And I don't know how to do it by myself. So I need other people to help me do this.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad that I did it. I signed up and it has completely changed my life. I'm in my home.
Yes.
My investment property. I'm super excited. And even though my path kind of had to change a little bit, I'm happy with where I ended up, and I have a lot more knowledge now. So that way, when I do my second property, I know how to go in and strategize things, and I can think about everything we've talked about so far. So I'm very glad I made the jump, and you should too if you're watching. Just saying.
Yes, I love that so much. And it's so true because, there are so many people that start, especially in the new year, right? It's January, you're gung-ho, you're like, this is the year, right? But they don't actually put themselves in a position where they're actually going to follow through with their goal, right? For example, people will be like, oh yeah, this is the year I work out, right? But it's not like they get a workout plan. It's not like they get a coach. It's not like they join a gym where that forces them, right? They're like, oh, I got this. I'm going to do it by myself. But a lot of the time, that is part of what, they don't have the accountability to actually go ahead and reach their goal. So it's kind of like, how do you expect yourself to reach your goals if you're just doing the exact same thing that you've been doing forever and it hasn't been working, right?
And I feel like I really attribute it to this group, but I never thought about applying coaching to my everyday life and things that I actually want to make progress in. But I'm like, oh, wow, I signed up for one thing. And then months later, I actually have my property. I'm like, okay, maybe this coaching thing actually does work. And it's true. You get further faster when you're working alongside other people, but also when you're working with people who have knowledge about the thing that you actually want to do. So it's why waste my time anymore doing that? And I did that when I did my job change. I signed up for a course, literally did that course, even got sick and finished that course. There's a beam, actually, of what's going on. I got sick, still finished that course. And then within 2 months, I had a new job, which led me to being able to do this.
Yeah.
So, never doing that again. I actually just signed up for another course that's going to help me because we want to make more money. So that way, properties. So that is the process now. I'm okay, I'm never going to doubt investing in myself because it's not oh, I'm just spending money and nothing's going to happen. It's no, if you're really committed to the process, this is an investment in your life that's really going to lead to a better change and actually seeing the results you want. And so I'm grateful. I was taking a shower and I was like, wow, this is my shower and I'm out this house that people are going to pay for my showers. So.
Yeah, that is the damn truth. I love that so much. You are one of the students that were actually committed, right? You showed up. Whenever I said, go do this, you went and did that thing, right? Instead of being like, oh, come back next week, haven't done it, right? And so and those are the people that I want within the program, the people who are going to show up and are actually going to go and do it. So honestly, kudos to you because honestly, you are the one that did it at the end of the day. I didn't, I wasn't the one going through the NACA process. I wasn't the one putting in the offer. I wasn't the one going to go see 5-10 properties on the weekend. You did it, right?
And I will even say that too, like, there were a lot of things that I didn't know during this process that I learned that helped me. Like, I had heard about NACA before, but I didn't have the knowledge that you have that made me think, oh, NACA is how you should get your first property because of this benefit and this benefit and this benefit. So when I looked into it, I was like, why the heck would I not do this? And I went and I went through the entire website. And I had all the documents ready because I heard it takes a while. So I was like, I'm going in and I'm prepared. And even my NACA counselor was like, Khouri, she's like, even though you got like sick in the middle of the process, like you never closed on a house faster than this. I was like, you're right. Because that's what I came to do. Okay. We didn't come to mess around. So
freaking exactly.
I was like,
love it.
My house.
Amazing. Well, and so also, you know, you had an interesting like shift also at the beginning of your journey, right? Because I remember when we were first chatting and when you first got in the program and we were in our sessions, you were like, yeah, I really want to get a duplex, right? Especially being in Houston, there are a lot of duplexes, but we're in a weird time in the market then. So tell me a little bit more about what that shift, what happened, and how you had to kind of navigate all of that.
Yeah. So at first I came in, I still want a duplex. Fourplex would be the best, but I'll start with the duplex. So I was looking for a duplex. The market in Houston was honestly booming. Duplexes were popping up everywhere. And an area I was very interested in, two areas actually, where a lot of growth was going to be happening over the next couple of years. However, when I finally went down and I looked at the numbers and I got pre-approval, I didn't qualify for the average duplex that was in Houston. And to be honest, a lot of the duplexes had raised in prices. I remember looking at a duplex that was $420, but then within a couple weeks, everything being put out was $485 to $500 plus. And so the market shift happened so quickly. I was not prepared for it. And instead of getting discouraged, I was like, okay, let me pivot. And that's why I really love our Wednesday calls, because we get to hear from other people who are doing this and the different processes that they took. And I was like, okay, a single family home could work. Especially here in Houston, we have a lot of travel nurses in the medical center. We have a lot of people traveling in business. I have a friend who actually has a townhome who's renting it out and is back with her parents again. And she's plenty of people rent out my place every month. So I realized, I was like, okay, shifting my strategy isn't bad. And actually, if I don't like this, I'm out less money and I can put this property back on the market. But we're not doing that. It was just, I was worried. So I ended up looking at single family homes, started with townhomes, realized no, I don't think this is exactly what I want to do. Then I started realizing maybe I want to be in an area with no HOAs and also no townhome maintenance fees. And I ended up landing on my single family home in this area. And I am very happy with it. I am less than 10 minutes away from the Reliant Arena, which is where all the teams happen. The Houston Livestock Show Rodeo happened. The medical center is 15 minutes away. I'm actually shocked. Even when there's traffic, it takes me 15 minutes to get somewhere. So I know that the rental demand on this place is going to be great. Mesh Street is very quiet. There's going to be a lot of growth happening. And so I think it's going to be a really good property to get off the ground and rent out. So I'm very excited.
No, I love this so much because here's what happens to a lot of people, right? They think they're going to, for example, they think they're going to get the duplex, right? They're committed. Which is great. Be committed. Be I'm going to get the duplex. They find out they can't qualify for it. And then they're like, okay, well, I guess I can't buy real estate. And it's just no. You pivot, right? There are ways to do it. There are ways, I even think about here in Denver, right? Originally, this was before I'd really looked at the market. I was like, oh, I'm going to get a duplex here. And then I started looking at the numbers and it really didn't make sense. And it made more sense for me to find a single family home that had a basement that wasn't technically a duplex, but could either be converted into a duplex or they'd already separated out, even though it wasn't actually a duplex, because that made sense because the numbers looked better on that versus getting something that's actually zoned a duplex, right? And this is where you can't just take the advice that you see online as prescriptive. Real estate is both a science and an art, and you have to get creative.
Exactly. And there's no way I would have found the property that I did. The area over here is already booming. And if I hadn't been open to shifting my strategy, I would have missed out on a really great opportunity to get a house well under $300K. I even was able to get them to drop from the asking price. And the sellers were so flexible with me. They were so kind. It's a new build. And so I'm like, okay, I don't really have to worry about much. I just need to come in and get this place furnished and then start putting it out. So I'm really glad that I was open to shifting my strategy. And also, when you think about your strategy can shift now. So for me, I was thinking, okay, I want to live for free. But then I realized, okay, I've been living for free. So it's really not going to make that difference. Like I was living with my parents before this, you guys. So really, I was only paying rent because NACA made me pay rent. And I would just help my parents out with like bills here and there, or like getting groceries and cooking for them. So the trade-off wasn't bad. Now I was like, okay, well, this isn't a benefit. Like I'm going to have to pay a mortgage anyways. The real benefit is the long-term value of this house in this area, knowing that the growth will come. FIFA's coming in 2 years. So that's going to dramatically increase the rental value in this area. So many things are being built up in like the surrounding area that's less than 15 minutes away from me. So I was like, okay, let's get in now because I probably won't be able to get in later, or I will. It's just going to be way higher than I expected.
And now it's going to be easier for you to get like buy more properties later, right? Because by holding onto this property, you're also creating equity in the property, right?
Exactly.
Both through equity pay down from your tenants, right, who are going to be paying you money, right? That's going to go towards equity in your property, but then also from appreciation, because real estate does go up over time. Yes, it does cycle in between, right? So it can be up 1 year and down the next year, but over the long time, because we're not buying real estate for a year or two, we're buying it for the 5-year, 10-year, 20, 30-year mark. It goes up. It's been going up for so many freaking years, right?
It's just like the stock market. I always think about that. I'm like, if you look at the stock market on like a day-to-day, you're going to be really depressed because it's like, it's not the minutes down. It's not the minutes down. But if you look at the general trend, when you look at that all, or like the next 3 years, the next 5 years, the next 10 years, you're like, okay, I see how really there's been an incline the entire time. And it's the same thing with real estate. So I'm like, all right, just set it and forget it. We're going to pay the bills, but we're forgetting it. So
I love it. Oh my gosh. And okay, so tell me, how much was the property? How much did it end up being?
Yeah, this property is $260. I didn't have to get anything fixed. Like truthfully, we just did the walkthrough and it's like very minor cosmetic things. I had a really great, oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. I had a great inspector. So he like really went through, checked everything off. And my seller was very kind. And he was just like, yeah, like we'll get this all done. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, too, if you get a new build, they are much more flexible during the closing process versus if you are getting a home that's been flipped, because they are super strict about making sure, which is good. They want to make sure that your property is good for the long haul. So they're going to make sure everything is like checked off and done versus like if you get a new property, you technically don't need an inspection, but you always get an inspection.
Oh, no. Yeah. You have to get an inspection. Even I remember for this property, I actually waived the inspection because I was pretty confident, like it's a relatively new property. And it's funny, we still even got them to make fixes. So even when you waive an inspection, like you can still negotiate. This is where I tell people like it's all psychological, trust me, more than anything else. But I think the crazy thing for you though, is you were able to get a new construction for 3-bedroom, right? 3-bedroom, 2-bath?
Yeah, 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
For $260,000, 10 minutes from everything in Houston. Like, excuse me? Right? Like, that's amazing. That's amazing. Truly incredible. And this is where
some friends tonight.
Right. And so wait, what?
20 minutes. I said, I'm going to go hang out with some friends tonight. We're going to like a show in the theater district. Yeah. With traffic, it's like 20 minutes away. So I'm just like,
incredible.
This is insane.
Incredible. And that's the thing. So it's so funny. If you don't know Houston, it's like a huge city. And everyone who says they live in Houston doesn't actually live in Houston. Like my family lives in Katy. They're not really in Houston, right? So the fact that you're that close to everything is truly incredible. And this is where, so many people are like, no, you can't find deals anymore. You can't find, prices are so high. Like, y'all, you just have to, you're not looking in the right places, right? And even for you, I remember you telling me, like, I'm going to go see, like, I don't know, 5 properties this weekend. And I'm like, yes, exactly. Like, you have to go out. Seeing one property, you're not going to find anything, right? Like, you have to put your reps in.
Like the website that's used in Houston to find properties is called HAR. And I always would joke with my realtor. I'd be like, HAR hates to see me coming because I'm on there in the morning I'm there in the evening. I'm checking what's been new. I'm setting up alerts so that way I'm getting emails about what's been posted. And that's actually how I got this place. Like literally the day it was like uploaded to HAR, I was like, we're seeing this place. I think we saw it the same day or the next day. And immediately I was like, this is my place. And the seller was like, okay, cool. Like we can put you down and start going through the process. And we did. It took a very long time because it's NACA, but the seller didn't lose hope. And even when I got sick, they didn't lose hope. They were like,
I know. Well,
waited.
and I want to cover that. So before we even get into that, so can you tell people what is NACA and like what are the benefits for using NACA?
Yeah. So NACA is, I think it's called the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation. It's something
Association, something. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, something like that. But pretty much it's an organization that is all throughout the United States. Every state may not have an office, but they can connect you to the closest office nearby, or they can talk to you online. But pretty much they help you get your own home. It's going to be a primary residence, and they help you get a home with no closing costs, no down payment, no PMI. And I know it sounds too good to be true, but it actually and it's in partnership with Bank of America. So there's like a long history and backstory that they'll tell you about, but pretty much they're a company that was started that saw that mortgage companies were just gorging people for crazy mortgages. And so they ended up, I guess, striking or doing something. Yeah. They did something. Long story short, it led to them coming up with an agreement with Bank of America where there's like billions and billions of dollars that they give out in mortgages. And so that is how I got my home. And it is a really great process. I'm not going to lie. It is slow. It is slow.
Because it's really, government.
It's government.
As expected.
Anything with government is slow. And it can be a headache at times, like anything with the government. But it is so worth it if you will be patient, if you will be prepared, come to all of your meetings having read everything, save everything, just make a whole folder that says NACA and upload everything to it. So that way when you're asked like, hey, can you send me this again? And you're like, I've sent this for the third time. Or if they ask you to correct something, you're like, well, I still have the Word document. So I can just go change a couple words and resend it over. It will make the process go a lot smoother. But the counselors there really want to help you. They want to help you get into a home. They want to make sure you qualify for a home and get something that is like attainable, because the whole goal is to help people not lose their homes. So it's a great place to start, especially if you are low on cash, or even if you're not low on cash and you meet all the qualifications, because I didn't want to spend up all my cash. Like, I wanted to keep it. And that's what I learned from Olivia, because I was like, oh, I didn't realize you didn't have to like not spend your cash to get a home. You could spend some milk.
Exactly. And that's why I even tell people like leverage retirement accounts and stuff. Like it was so funny. I was talking to my copywriter earlier today. And part of the reason why I say that is like you want more cash on hand in case anything happens, right? Like when you're buying a property, you don't want to use all of your dollars buying this property so that you're like, okay, cool. If something happens, I'm screwed, right? Like you want to have more cash on hand for yourself. So.
And I think that's another thing I love about WWA. You also teach us like really great financial principles. So it's not like you said, we're going broke during this housing process. Like you're helping us get out of debt. You're giving us strategies for travel hacking, because we all want to travel as well too. That's why we're getting these properties, most of us at least. And you're able to like do it in a very, I wouldn't even say like quote unquote affordable, but just a very like work smarter, not harder way.
Totally.
So yeah, even then, I guess the traveling would be more affordable because you're using dollars you've already spent to like hack your traveling. So
okay, y'all, do I have something exciting for you? Now, I just came out with a brand new free training on exactly how you can get started investing in real estate within the next 3 months. Because if you're someone who wants more freedom in your life, the ability to travel the world and do the things that you actually want to do in life, you're going to want to listen up. Trust me. Now, this training is freaking awesome. I literally go in and spill the tea on the number one strategy that is working right now, like literally today, in today's market. And I go over how to look at deals and make sure that they actually cash flow and how to set your properties up so that you can run them from anywhere in the world. Like I literally have managed my properties from over 6 different time zones. So if you are stuck in analysis paralysis, you don't know where to start when it comes to real estate investing, but you know that it's something that you want to do in the future, this training is going to be for you. So to check it out, click the link in the show notes or DM me the word hack, like HACK on Instagram, and I will send you the link. Now let's dive back into the show.
Exactly. When it's like the income that you're getting in can even cover your travels a lot of the time. And so that's what we're like, we're making sure to not use our hard-earned cash from like our job and stuff and actually put that away to savings and living and life, and instead funneling income from other places so that we can have more cash in our bank account and go live the life that we want to live.
Receive it.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. So just to recap though, like you literally purchased a $260,000 property 10 minutes away from everything in Houston, 3 bedrooms for $0.
I only paid taxes of $600. I mean, like, that's nothing.
Literally.
That's really long.
And like now you own this $260,000 asset. Like it's crazy.
It's really crazy. Like I bank for Bank of America and I opened my banking app and I saw like the mortgage there and I was like, oh my gosh, it's real. I have a house. Like it's mine. This is so crazy.
I actually own this. What?
So it's really
oh my
pretty.
gosh.
Now we're in like the furnishing phase. And so I just ordered my washer and dryer. I just ordered a sofa. And even like you said, like making sure you have money for those things. Like I talked to friends who are also doing real estate. And like I just have a friend who was like, yeah, my washer and dryer just broke. So I had to get that fixed. And it's little things like that where it's like, oh yeah, like you don't want to have to spend all your money at the beginning of this process because life will happen and things will happen to the property. And there are things that we can fix ourselves, but there are things that are going to be like way over our head. If there is a leak going on and we can't figure out where it's going, we're going to have to call a plumber. And so prepared for those things, having that emergency fund and like even factoring that into the numbers when you're calculating what you should get. Oh my gosh, it makes life so much easier. And I can't thank you enough for teaching us that because I would have been poor had I tried to do this by myself. It would have been so bad. Oh my goodness.
Well, and that's what I always say. We're trying to be house rich, not house poor.
Exactly. And it's crazy
oh my
too.
Gosh.
I never thought about the rent by the room strategy, but I always used Airbnb and I've technically done rent by the rooms. I would pay for somebody else's room if I didn't get the whole place to myself. And I'm like, wait, if I used to do this, then somebody else will rent out a room in my place and then I can rent out the whole thing when I'm gone. So I'm like, I didn't even think about this. Like, it's so
and that's the thing. Like, real estate is not complicated. It is so simple, but there are things that happen that we're just not exposed to on a day-to-day basis. And so it's like hard to recognize and realize what's possible when you're not constantly exposed to it. So part of getting into like spaces like WWA is that exposure, right? You're like, oh, wait, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even see that. Like, oh my gosh, what a great idea, you know?
Yes. Even that, like, again, back to the Wednesday calls, but like the Wednesday calls have opened my mind so much because like you get to hear about strategies that other people have done, how they've gotten their properties, how they're like getting money to do these properties. Some people are choosing to do flips so that way they can have cash on hand. Some people are just doing long-term strategy with having multifamily properties. Even the whole like watching and hearing people who were able to like have successful single family properties that are bringing in a lot of money. I'm like, okay. Like I always thought it had to be like you are renting out a whole place to somebody, but I'm like, no, there's ways that you can do it that work for where you are right now. So you can really get started in real estate at whatever level you're at. It's just about knowing what's available to you. And again, by being in those spaces, you know what's available to you. So
100%.
I can't like talk about it enough.
I love it. I love it. And so, you know, you kind of went through this crazy thing where you almost lost out on your property, right? You got really sick. We were all a little worried, hoping you were okay.
Yeah.
So I guess, but it's crazy because literal divine intervention said, no, you're going to be fine and you're going to get this damn property. And that's where it's like, wait, what are you going to say?
Oh no, I was gonna expand on that, but keep going. We'll get
No,
there.
you expand.
Okay, y'all. So this is what happened. It's really wild. Like in the middle of July, we're in Houston. So of course hurricanes happened. Hurricane hit Houston. We were fine, but I decided to like go outside and help my mom pick up like a lot of the wreckage. And I started getting like really tired. I'm like, being out of breath. I'm just thinking it's the Houston humidity, like that's what's going on. But we go to my aunt's house because they have power, still not feeling the best. And I'm like, okay, something's not right. I'm thinking I just got sick. Maybe it's COVID. Like COVID's still going around. So it is what it is. 3 weeks later, I still feel bad.
No.
And it's like, are you sure it's not COVID? I'm like, yeah, it's not COVID. We try to figure out what it is. This is gonna like go really crazy, but more time passes, end up going to a different doctor. They're like, so we think you have cancer. I'm like, what? They think I have gastric
Oh my
cancer.
gosh.
Gastric cancer. A couple weeks ago, I would find that out. Then I end up having to just go to the ER. They're like, just go to the emergency room and then they'll just admit you. Go to the emergency room. Like calcium is super high. I end up needing surgery. It's very crazy. I'm dropped out of like closing on my home at this point because I'm no longer able to care for myself. And I told Olivia, I'm like now I'm having to tell people because I'm like, I'm literally at the point where I'm in the hospital and I can't care for myself. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I need to chill with what I'm doing. And I was working in the hospital. So it was just like, it was weird. Got surgery, immediately felt better right after. And the surgeon said I would because it was like just needed to be removed and I would feel better. So thank you for healing. We're good. But randomly after that, I was like, let's just message the seller because I have his phone number and I have his email. And I messaged him and I was like, hey, just want to let you know I'm doing better. Did you guys sell the property? And they were like, hey, we've been thinking about you and like praying for you. Like, we're so glad that you're doing better. We haven't sold the place. We wanted to give you an opportunity to see if you still wanted to get it when you were covered. And I was just like,
no, I mean, no one does that. Like literally no one does that. And
we've been looking at this property since the end of April. So like,
yeah,
they're already paying the mortgage on it. I'm sure they want to get it sold. But like this one guy decided like, I'm going to wait and just see if she wants it because he was like, the other people want me to get rid of this property, but like, I just want to see if you want it. So I was like, just this one person have my back. I said yes, because I was like, this must be my home. Like I have to get it. And then from that process, I like went back and I started the whole process with NACA. We didn't have to start over from the beginning because they canceled my application, but it went by so quick because I already had everything in that folder that I told you guys to make. So make the folder. I just took all the documents all over again. And then they were able to get my stuff done within that week. Even my NACA counselor said this, my application was first submitted and my interest rate was 5.25. Not bad. But for some reason, a document was missing. And so they had to send it back. And then like she included it. And the next day, the interest rates dropped to 4.75. And I got locked in at that rate. And I was literally like, okay, this is like complete divine intervention because this makes no, like, only that could explain why one application was being, so I could get the lower interest rate like that following day, and then interest rates went right back up on that Monday. So
I'm sure.
Day. And I'm here in my home that I have a 4.5 interest rate on, and I'm about to file my homestead exemption so we can also lower those taxes.
From 600 to like 400.
Exactly. And it's going to be so good. Like I'm still just shook by the entire process. And I'm like, okay, we're here. And now I'm just excited to continue furnishing this place. Like there are little things that I keep realizing I forgot, like hand soap. I was like, oh, I forgot to buy hand soap. That's important. Okay, gotta get that. Like small things here and there.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
I love it. Well, no, yeah, that's like so I've literally spent the last few months just setting up the upper unit here, listing it next week. Let's freaking go. But I'm finally moving down to my unit and there's nothing. Like literally I have a mattress, a table, and a chair, and that is it. And this week I've just been like out and buying things that I actually need. But yeah, it's like, then luckily, for y'all too, it's like in WWA, you do have that one spreadsheet that has like your baseline of everything that obviously like you may add things here and there, but it has that baseline of everything that you need to purchase as well. And
that was still helpful. Like when Prime Day came up, I was like, bam, 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 bam. And I bought everything. And like people probably thought I was crazy with the number of boxes that were like outside my
Oh,
house. But
yeah.
or we're getting it all.
Oh, no,
now.
literally, like the UPS guy and Amazon guy know me at this point. They're like, oh, how's the movie room going? Like, oh, I see you got a hot tub.
Like, yeah,
Oh my
that's cool out here, you guys.
I
Also,
love that
another thing
so
I
much.
love-
Yeah. Mhm.
Go ahead. Another thing I love
no.
is that I never thought about the strategy of furnishing your place too. Like when you have a duplex, I'm like, oh, how do you live and like also furnish the other side? You don't live. You just have a mattress and you do what you need to do and furnish because then
literally.
it will fund you being able to furnish your place. And I was like,
and that's,
oh,
yes.
duh. Like, why didn't I think about that?
That's why I always preach, like, get the rental side up and running. Like, you can live in, like, whatever situation for a couple of weeks, you'll be fine. But get the rental side up and running so you can start bringing in income. Because you can even live in the rental side while you're getting it up and running and then move. Like, that's what I did is because I actually had tenants in my other unit anyways at the beginning. But I lived in the main unit while I was getting it up and running. And then it wasn't until recently that I actually moved to my unit. And now I'm like getting my unit up and running.
Yep. So I'm like, oh, this is so much wiser because like you said, now you're all over the place. Your mortgage is getting paid and hopefully you have more as well over that. That will also help you furnish your place. Or you're
Exactly.
like, so you can just continue to do that because your mortgage is already being paid. So
Exactly. I love it. I love it. And so can you tell people real quick too? So 260 purchase price, 4.75% interest rate. What is your actual mortgage and how much do you expect to be able to rent the rooms by / I know you're also thinking of renting the whole property out fully by itself as well. Like what do those numbers look like?
Yeah. So pretty much in this area, everybody is renting out a home. Like I wish I were joking, but the quality of the homes are not that great. So I already know that I can like rent my space for a lot more because one, I have a new build. Two, it will be decorated nicely. And the rental demand here, just in general for like travel nurses or anyone who is traveling for business is a lot higher. So my mortgage is technically like $1,300 plus taxes.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Plus my taxes and insurance bring it up to like 18 something, like 1806. And really, it's only because my taxes are so high that the mortgage is high.
Well, also think about this, right? Because you're like 10 minutes from Houston. If you rent even a 1-bedroom place in Houston, you're probably like they're looking at about $1,400 or so, right? Exactly. Versus you literally own a 3-bedroom house for $1,800. Like what?
And that's always have to remind myself. I'm like, this mortgage is nothing because people spend. I have a friend who's paying $2,000 for a 1-bedroom at a nice like.
I used to spend like $1,800 on rent.
Yeah, so I'm like, this is a 3-bedroom house, so. I know that I can either rent by the room and I can rent each room for around $1,000. The rooms that will have the shared bathroom, I'm probably going to rent for like maybe $950 to $1,000 each. But the room that has its own bathroom, I'm thinking like $1,200. We'll see how that works in terms of numbers. But if I do each one for a travel nurse, that would be fine because travel nurses are used to doing that. And technically that would be like one of the cheapest places they could find to live as well. But that would be like $2,000 over my mortgage. So that would be amazing.
So good. So good.
Try to rent the entire home. I'm going to see if 2,400 is looking good because that's about what is happening in this area. But right now the rent by the room strategy is looking good. So I was going to put my office in this one room, but I really want to make this room a bedroom. So I'm going to put my office in the dining room.
Nice.
It's just, I can take the laptop with my room so my work information is safe. And then anybody can use this extra monitor that's here. So yeah.
Love it. Love it. Yes. Freaking amazing. Seriously, Khouri, like I am just so proud of you. Like I remember some of our first conversations and you're really nervous. You're like, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to get a property. Like maybe it'll take a while, yada, yada, yada. But you committed and you've just showed up every single day and have absolutely freaking crushed it.
And it blows my mind too, because I really didn't think this was possible. I didn't think the numbers were possible. But like when I started looking at what people were paying. I was like, people, they're staying in this place and they're paying like $800 to live here. I'm like, I could charge you more and give you a way nicer place. So I'm like, okay, this is really possible. And so I just want to tell anybody who's thinking about this, like, take the leap. You really don't have to have like $100,000 to get started. You can do it on much less and go to NACA. Please use NACA. I'm glad we talked about that last week because I was like, man, what am I going to do next? But we're going FHA next. So we're going FHA. We're going to try and get my multifamily. Yeah.
Love it. Oh my gosh. And so Khouri, so if anyone is on the fence just about joining WWA or maybe even getting like the House Hacking to Freedom course, like what would you say to them?
I would say if this is something you've been working towards for a while, like stop trying to do it by yourself. Go ahead and make the plunge. Just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off and you are not going to regret it. If you really commit to the process, just like we said earlier, this is something you do have to put in a little bit of work for. It's not like a ton of work. It's not going to take over like your life, but it's taking time out of your day and being intentional about getting these things done. And you're going to see the fruit of your labor. So go for it, you guys. I'm like living proof of it right now. It doesn't even matter. Sickness can't hold you back. Okay.
Ain't that the truth? I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Khouri. This has been wonderful. I'm so excited to see the property when it's up and running. I'll actually be in Houston for Christmas, and maybe I'll come by and check it out too. So
I might be in Spain because
yes, girl,
like ready there. And so literally, I was like, I need to go faster and get this place ready. So
yes, even better. Honestly, even better.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Olivia.
This is lovely. Bye, girl. Thank you so much for listening to Wonderlust Wealth Show. Now, don't forget to follow the podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you love this episode, it would literally mean the world to me if you shared this with a friend or a family member or literally like anyone off of the street. Like right now, go ahead, share it so you don't forget, or post it on social media and make sure to tag me. I love seeing what you're listening in on and what you resonated with, and I'm just so freaking thankful for you. I'm so freaking excited for you. I love you, and don't forget, life really doesn't have to be hard.